Watch the feeder this evening. Not in the morning, when everything is active and obvious. This evening, about 40 minutes before the sun fully disappears. Something happens. The cardinal that's been working through the seeds for the last hour suddenly stops. Looks up. Leaves. The sparrows on the ground below the feeder scatter into the hedge without any visible reason. The chickadee that was making short loops between the oak tree and the suet cage. Gone. And then, within a window of time so precise it almost feels coordinated, the yard goes completely still. No warning. No gradual thinning. Just birds, and then not birds. Most people see this happen and don't think about it at all. They assume the birds simply go somewhere else. That night is a rest period. That the yard will reset by morning and the whole thing will start again. But that explanation leaves out almost everything that's actually happening. Because for a small bird, nighttime is not rest. It is the most dangerous part of the entire day. The last meal isn't random. Before we talk about where the birds go, we need to talk about why they become more active just before they leave. If you watch the feeder carefully in the final 30 to 40 minutes before sunset, you'll notice something specific. The feeding intensity often increases. Birds that were visiting casually become more focused, more frequent, less easily startled away. They're not hungrier. They're calculating. A small songbird, a chickadee, a finch, a nuthatch, burns through energy at a rate that would be extraordinary by human standards. On a cold winter night, a bird can lose 10 to 15% of its entire body weight simply staying warm. That is not a margin for error. That is a survival threshold that has to be hit before darkness arrives, or the bird may not make it to morning. So the last feeding window before sunset is not casual eating. It is fueling for a survival event. The bird at your feeder in those final minutes before dusk may be making one of the most important decisions of its day. Not where to fly next, how much stored energy it will carry into the dark, what they're actually looking for. As the light drops, birds stop behaving like daytime animals. The logic that governed their afternoon, find food, defend territory, stay visible, move between locations, gets replaced by a completely different set of priorities. And the most important one is this: find a place to survive the next several hours without being eaten. A bad sleeping location is not uncomfortable. It can be fatal. Birds evaluate potential roost sites with a precision that most people would never associate with a creature so small. They're looking for dense cover that limits approach angles, evergreen branches that retain some warmth and block wind, height that reduces ground predator access but doesn't expose the bird to the open sky, proximity to an escape route, because even while roosting, a bird needs a plan for the moment something arrives in the dark. Your backyard transforms in these moments. During the day, it is feeding territory, a resource space, mapped and contested and traveled between. At night, it becomes something different. Shelter territory, a place measured not by what it offers in terms of food, but by whether it offers the specific conditions a bird needs to survive until dawn. The dense shrub near your fence, the protected corner behind the garage, the thick cluster of evergreen branches in the back corner that you've never paid much attention to. These become critical infrastructure for the birds you think of as daytime visitors. The sleep that isn't sleep. Here is the part most people have never considered. Birds do not sleep the way we sleep. A roosting bird is not unconscious. It is in a state of managed alertness that allows it to rest without becoming fully vulnerable. Many species can maintain awareness of vibration, sound, and movement even while their metabolic rate has dropped and their eyes are closed. Some, including several common backyard species, practice a form of sleep in which only half the brain rests at a time, while the other half maintains a reduced but functional watch. One eye closed, one eye open literally. The yard at midnight is not full of sleeping birds. It is full of birds running a continuous, low-power threat assessment in the dark. Every sound that passes through your yard after sunset, a cat moving through the garden, a branch shifting in the wind, the distant call of an owl 3 blocks away, gets processed, evaluated, filed. The birds know something is out there long before there's anything visible to react to. The predator map. Night changes the balance of power completely, and birds understand this. Owls can locate a roosting bird by sound alone in complete darkness. Raccoons move quietly through yards that feel empty. Outdoor cats, and researchers have spent considerable time studying just how significant a predator they are for bird populations, are most active in the hours humans are asleep. Birds don't choose roost sites casually. They choose them based on a calculation that includes predator routes, moonlight exposure, branch stability, and the specific geometry of available escape paths. Every tree in your yard exists, from a bird's perspective, within a nighttime risk map that has been built through experience and memory. A branch that looks identical to another branch may be systematically avoided because something passed through that area on a night weeks ago. Birds remember. They update their maps. The birds that remember your yard. This is the part of the story that changes the way you think about the birds at your feeder. Birds remember places where they survived safely before, not in the abstract, generalized way of this region is safe. In the specific, location-precise way of this shrub, this corner of this yard, this approach path. This is where I was when the night passed and I made it to morning. That memory is durable. It shapes behavior for seasons, sometimes for the life of the bird. A yard that consistently provides cover, predictable quiet, and the absence of major disturbance becomes part of a bird's long-term survival territory. Not just a food source, a place that has been proven to keep them alive in the dark. The birds returning to your feeder every morning may not simply have found the food again. They may be returning to the place where they survived the night before. The sounds of survival. Before dawn, well before most people are awake, the birds in your yard begin to stir. They don't emerge immediately. They wait. They listen. They monitor the quality of the light and the sounds coming from the surrounding environment. There is a specific stillness in that period, a hell-breath moment before the first bird calls. And when it does, that first clear note in the dark before sunrise, it is not simply a bird announcing morning. It is a bird confirming it survived another night. The dawn chorus, which most people experience as pleasant background sound, is at its origin a survival report. Species by species, individual by individual, each voice adding to a signal that says, still here, still safe, the night is over. Tomorrow evening, watch the feeder during the last 40 minutes before dark. Watch the birds become more focused. Watch the yard empty with that strange, coordinated precision. And understand that what you're seeing is not disappearance. It is the beginning of something you've never watched before. What happens after the birds leave your yard at dusk? Drop it in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know what you've noticed or what you're going to look for now.